Okay, yeah, so, let's see if I can brain myself into explaining what happened here. Effectively, even though I had unplugged the wireless dongle, the controller still was like, yeah, you're still connected. Like, normally we'll do the flashy thing and say, like, yep, nope. Definitely not connected to anything. In this case, it was just like, what do you mean I'm not connected to the computer? Yeah, I totally am, but, like, takes no inputs. Hello, what's up with you? Ever since Tyrant Nexomon showed up, the heat's become unbearable. This place sucks. We live in a volcano. I feel an intense... I am overcome by camaraderie with that drinking man. Speaking of, let us drink more. I'm going to pee so much today. It's not great. It's a duh. It's done. It's done, son. There's nothing left. Hello. Got a mineral whistle. Hey. Yeah, today's been like just kind of a weird, rough day for tech support issues. Because previously, I guess kind of in the same vein, my audio interface. Hey, are you sure we should be going this way? I don't think Ross fell around here. I guess it can't hurt to look around though. Oh, don't even think about using that cave. My friends are inside grabbing all those pretty shards. We're gonna make a fortune, so go find your own cave. Nope. Anyway, earlier today, I had moved my computer from my office into my bedroom so I could purify all the air in one room and not have to worry about it. And it mostly worked, but my audio interface, for whatever reason, when I plugged it in, just was not detected no matter what. So I tried reinstalling the drivers, and then it uninstalled the drivers successfully, but could never reinstall the drivers no matter how many times I tried to like reinstall them, and you know, restarted everything, ran it in admin mode, just like a bunch of stuff. You jerk, there are lots of caves out there. Find your own. Oh, whatever. You've won fair and square, I guess. Anyway, oh no, that's just a blinky. This looks like a great place to do some mining, Snat Hamwick. I wonder if there are even more gems the deeper we go. Probably should hold off on this, but I'm not going to. It's good sort of training, and I like being just... I'm currently one-shotting everything that we come across, so this is actually super worth it as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so I tried everything to get my audio interface to start working again, so I could, you know, plug in my microphones and start streaming, and the answer is nope, no such luck. I had to reformat my entire compiler in computer. Gosh, I'm losing it. Reformat the entire computer just to be able to get it so it would recognize my microphone again. Which, I mean, realistically, not a big deal. Gosh, this is easy. This is cake mode. Welcome to Cake Town. Just beat the shit out of everything in this cave, and we're good. Haha! It's not actually that much EXP, but it's enough. At least for now. Let's see. But yeah, so I've just been... I don't know. Whatever could have gone wrong this week almost went as wrong as it could have. If that makes any sense. I normally am kind of, like, leery of my birthday. And so far, historically, I think the only year where something didn't go wrong was last year? Jill, did anything go bad last year? Oh, huh. I was wondering why chat was kind of quiet. And the answer is apparently the Streamlabs OBS just lost the chat, but the main chat was still there. High effort to XP ratio. If only by virtue of it being very low effort. It is very, very easy. That sounds like 2020. Is the fire affecting me? Yep, it is. We are currently holed up in my bedroom because we only have one air purifier. And while my while my house has a substantive HVAC system, it's not enough to, or not HVAC, it has multiple filters on the intakes, and so, like, it should be able to filter out most of the bad stuff. It doesn't do a good enough job, and so we're slowly getting gassed in the rest of our house. So we've got our HEPA filter running in the background. You probably could hear it if I didn't have filters on my microphone. Whirlpool. I remember looking at this and thinking it was cool, and then I realized it's actually just kind of shit. Oh, the main reason why it's good is it's fast. It's real fast, but still. Did something happen on your birthday last year, or is that safe? That's what I was asking Shell, and I think last year was totally safe. And, like, the only year that nothing happened on, which was kind of a surprise. Murphy's Law, so blame Murphy and move on is my response. It's just moving on is really hard when your city's on fire. Ooh, that got low. Let's see. What do you like? I'm getting enough secret sauce that even if they don't like it, it doesn't matter. They'll like it anyway. Have my watermelon. That sounded weird. But so, like, what was it? So last year, nothing happened. The year before, I don't remember if any... Oh, no, the year before, I lost all my friends. The year before that, we had just moved into Kansas, I think? Or no. I don't remember what happened the year before that. I think we just got sick. The year before that, we just moved into our new apartment, and some of the utilities didn't work right, and so, like, our shower didn't work. And I spent the whole weekend just feeling terrible and sick because I couldn't shower, and I need to shower every day or I feel just bad. Born from magnetic mineral deposits, a small rock orbits around it. Ben. Let's see, what else has happened? Yeah, I mean, they weren't really great friends to begin with, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Let's see, what else has happened in the past? At a birthday party years ago, all my friends knew about it. I'd been very clear, organized rides, you know, whole 9 yards to make sure people could come. We're gonna go to laser tag as a bunch of high schoolers, which, like, it's pretty cool, yeah? Well, all but, like, 2 of them canceled. I had to straight up, like, we had reserved the entire place. I had like 10 or so friends RSVP or something like that. So it was... We went from 10 people down to 4. And the 2 friends that did show up were kind of shared friends with my brother. So, like, they showed up to everything. They were actually legitimately good guys. Let's see. But, like, all of my own personal friends that I had, like, made in high school and so on and so forth didn't even bother. So, since we had reserved the laser tag for, you know, 2 hours effectively. I think it was 2 hours. Maybe it was just, like, an hour. But effectively, we were just going to have it all to ourselves. We had to go around finding people that I was vaguely friendly with to recruit them to come to laser tag so it wasn't going to be the most depressing thing ever. And you know what? The act of doing so was still incredibly depressing. How many of these keys do I even have left? I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. Because I don't think I actually need this stuff until, like, way later. And so, I think that was the year where, like, I had truly given up on... Oh, Ace gone. I think that was the year I truly gave up on, like, having birthdays and, like, bothering with it, because it just didn't seem like it was worth it. Let's see. I had a couple other things. I definitely had, like, another birthday party ruined, because my birthday is always, you know, early September. Oh, shit. Yeah, that was a bad one. So, had another birthday party. You might notice I have a lot of stories about having really shitty friends that take advantage of me. And I think it's just because I'm kind of a nice guy. Maybe too nice of a guy. Let's see. Inventory. There we go. Oh. Well, I could have just gone to the Healy Rock. I'll hit it up or something on the way out. But so, I had a group of friends. The only gamers of my year in school. And, you know, they were kind of decent friends. Sort of, but not really. They were decent friends as long as they were interested in whatever I was interested in. But if they lost interest, they were really shitty friends, and they could not be motivated to do anything. I guess really the answer is they were incredibly selfish friends that could be very fun if it was worth it for them, but if it wasn't worth it for them, then no effort was provided. So I remember very specifically, I had an all-night LAN party, which, like, okay, in retrospect, those might not actually be that fun anymore. Trying to do, like, an all-night gaming session nowadays would be just awful. Ooh. That's pretty good. Sort of quick feet, maybe. You're purely due to similar interest, friends. Yep. And the problem is, like, because it was only similar interests, it meant that they were very self-serving about those similar interests as well. So these were the guys that were, like, really into Counter-Strike. And so trying to play Counter-Strike with them was fun at first, but they got further and further into it. And the problem was, they had no sense of balance or fun. All they cared about was winning. And so, oh yeah, I've definitely been up here. So we would do LAN parties, for example, and they would just stack the team in their favor and then get really offended when anybody pointed it out at them. And it's like, you know, you just, like, took all the best players and put them on one team, and the rest of us are having a miserable time. And they're like, well, maybe you should just play more and practice more. And it's like, that, what the? I mean, yes, but that's a shitty thing to say to anybody, let alone your friends. Take a good look. As one of the hundreds of foolish tyrants who have dared to terrorize our world. For a long battle, Xanders himself claimed victory against this vile monstrosity. As a kid when Xanders defeated Brachus, you should have seen it. Battle actually took place up there in the desert, but Xanders pushed Brachus into the cavern. These things are way too big. But so the last time I pretty much had any contact with these guys, or like put any effort, well, he's gone, put any effort into that friendship, was, I think it was my it was like either my 16th or my 17th birthday or something like that, which, like, admittedly, I had given these guys way too much time to, what did I say, push me around-ish? But just to be total shit. So we're doing an all-night LAN party. Let's not do that. He's got, like, a fruit. There we go. A good noob before it was a thing, basically. It was just as get good noob was, like, becoming a phrase. For frame of reference, I want to say this is about the same time period that, the Boom Headshot guy was making his rounds on the internet to date things, which is probably pretty ancient history as far as people are concerned. But so, a couple things happened at this LAN party. One, my mother made cookies, which is fine. Cookies are great. One of the guys would take his cookies and dump his crumbs in the corner, like on the floor, and that involved, like, partly half-eaten cookies. This is the cutest blob ever. Unfortunately, its evolved forms don't look nearly as cute as it. Small, cute, and a little clumsy, this Nexomon is covered in hard shell that allows it to roll around the deserts. Let's see. But so, like, he was straight up, like, leaving cookie bits all over the place. And I'm not saying this is, like, small amounts of cookie. This is, like, disgusting levels of why the hell would you do this? In anybody's house, let alone, like, you wouldn't do this in your own house. You definitely wouldn't do this in anybody else's. And so, my mother actually banned him after this event and said, you cannot invite that guy over ever again because he is just that terrible. And he was kind of a source of multiple problems that night, because once again, there was the Counter-Strike thing where they stacked the team against all of the people that weren't that great at it. And I had set up like a bunch of different games that we could have played that were probably more fun than Counter-Strike. Like, I'd set up Battlefront 2 with a bunch of bots on a private server, and I think Battlefield 2142, and some other things, so that, like, we would either be competing, but it wouldn't be so bad, or we'd all be working together. And they're like, nope, I know it's your birthday, but we're just gonna play Counter-Strike. And it's just like, I mean, I guess it's fine. You can't force other people to like things that you like, but at least have some grace and dignity to just say no and not show up to a guy's party. But so what ended up happening is that three guys out of 6 banded together and refused to play anything except for Counter-Strike. Here, I should read this. Scorching pebble with magma core that also forms its one eye. When chasing it, be careful not to trip on its trail or your shoes might melt. Fair point. And so yeah, we ended up playing Counter-Strike for hours. And then I think this is about the same time that Guns, G-U-N-Z, came out in the US. And I only remember this because after a while, the guy got, the Cookie Monster, we'll go with that name. He got bored of playing Counter-Strike, decided he didn't want to play anything with anybody else, sat there just being kind of pissy for a while, started playing Guns, and he's like, oh man, you guys need to download Guns. So we collectively spent like 4, 5, 6 hours downloading Guns, which made it really difficult for us to do any online gaming because my internet wasn't good at the time. I was one of the first early adopters to Verizon Fios, which meant I had like maybe 5 up, 5 down, or something really basic like that. And so at 4 in the morning, we all finally picked up Guns and started playing together. And he's like, I'm bored, take me home. And so the only guy with the car had to take him home at 4 in the morning. And neither of them came back, of course, because the other guy, you know, who was just going to go home at that point. That was just kind of the end of the party. And I was just like, you were the most selfish little prick. And so, yeah, I just stopped interacting with those guys, period, because what's the point? Apparently, they're all still friends. So, like, I must have been doing something wrong. Or who knows what. Ignition is such a disaster. For your own good, turn around and leave. You think you're strong, full of yourself, aren't you? Those guys don't have any class. Yeah, and, like, I've spent much of my life kind of thinking about a lot of these things in retrospect. You know, all of the shitty people that I've ever encountered, and some amount of me in my head is like, how could have I done that so it wouldn't have ended as negatively for me as it did? And I came to the conclusion recently-ish that, like, there was very little I could have done with almost any of these people. Well, I guess you can handle yourself after all, but still, nothing can come from that wrecked city. Forget about it. Let's see. I got... Oh, man. This is a story I've been wanting to tell for a while-ish. And I guess it's a decent segue from this. So, in college, I was part of a frat for computer science people, tech people, so on and so forth. I was one of the only people that was not a computer science guy. And, you know, for the most part, it wasn't a problem. Most people were pretty courteous and friendly about it. But there were a couple of people that were absolute shits to anybody that was not in the in STEM. You had to be an engineer, you had to be a math guy, you had to be a programmer, you had to be some kind of hyper-productive, like, you know, will go to Silicon Valley and succeed kind of personality, or you literally were not worth their breath. And I stayed away from them because that is an absolute toxic mentality, with the exception of, like, 1 or 2 guys that were totally fine about it most of the time. I think Rust is adorable. I would consider Rust, but I've already got Fortle. It uses its steel helmet for both offense and defense. It's a cute little sucker. It reminds me of Aeron, which is one of my favorite Pokemon. Anyway, yeah, inverse nerd bullies. That's the thing. This frat was filled with these guys who probably were social outcasts or bullies or whatever, or social outcasts or, you know, not that cool, or just they didn't have a whole lot of power in high school because they were the nerd kids. But now that they're at a tech school, you immediately saw the alpha nerds start to, like, really, like, jump onto the social hierarchy and really embrace it. And I remember having a conversation with one of them, who was my friend at the time, but once again, it was a friendship of convenience, I think. And we were having a conversation as part of, like, a conference. Hello. Okay. Remind me to get back to this after I'm done beating the shit out of this thing. Yes, people of New Ignitia, listen to your new lord. I have freed you from the shackles of the guild. I have brought meaning to your poor and tasteless existence. Now you serve me, you little rats. Serve me and my tyrant, the invincible Multimer. Dear peasants, together we shall conquer the world above, through fire and ash. Trust my every word. Trust them, for I am Jin, the master tactician. Ha 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 ha. Oh no, look over there. That's Ross. He's being held hostage by that tyrant. There must be something we can do. Cool. 4 point. Peace out, nerds. Okay, let's see. So, continuing the story. Right. I was having a conversation with one of the guys, and I don't remember exactly how it went, but he was kind of complaining about artists and artsy students. And to some degree, like, I still do mildly agree with this, that, like, a lot of people that go into creative fields do it because they couldn't think of anything better to do with themselves. You know, how many people do you know that went into writing just because they literally couldn't think of anything else in life and they vaguely liked books? It's not always the case, but that was very often the case from what I had experienced, that there were a number of people that just went to art school because they couldn't really cut it with anything else, and they didn't really want to cut it with anything else either. Let's see. High electric type damage, 10% chance to inflict puzzled. Not really what I'm down for. Already got a decent setup here. Let's see. But, so, we were complaining a little bit. I remember it was kind of a little weird, because, effectively, it's like if somebody was insulting computer programmers. It's like, I hate all programmers, or I hate all nerds. But you're one of the good ones. And I've had that line stuck in my head for years after the fact, and just, like, going back to it, especially, like, in modern times, it's just like, holy shit, that is actually one of the worst things you could say to anybody for any reason. Ugh. Anyway, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not friends with those people anymore because, in retrospect, they were kind of evil. Alright, let's go save these nerds and beat the shit out of this guy. Snad Hamwick, the final piece of the puzzle has arrived. The Tamer who almost defeated Atlanta or Tyrant of Frost, yes. I acknowledge your strength, Snad Hamwick, and as such, I extend to you a most wonderful offer. An offer? Oh yes, a most excellent trade. Atlanta, that scum has dared to hide nearby. I cannot ignore her dangerous tyrant, nay. So I want you to hunt her down. I want you to defeat her once and for all. Only then shall I give back your friends, unharmed, of course. Ha 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 ha! That's it? Do you think that you can best me in combat? Look around you, fool! Behold your position! The desolation and ruin of this city are all my doing. If you engage my tyrant, he shall obliterate what remains of this miserable city. Oh yes, you are all my prisoners, my vassals, my hostages. Challenge me, and your name will go down in history as the Tamer who lets Ignitia perish. Can you shoulder such a burden? You will do as I say, Snad Hamwick. You will hunt down Atlanta, and only then shall we speak. I always keep my word. Your friends will be safe as long as you serve me, dear Snad Hamwick. Mulcimer, open the western exit. The western side of Ignitia has grown colder. Disgusting. A disgusting, chilling aura dares threaten my power. This has to be Atlanta's doing. Her tyrant must be to the west. You shall find them there. Oh, and don't you dare ask Amelie for help. Mulcimer will flood the city in the blink of an eye. If I see reinforcements from the guild, this place will burn. Go now, and do not let Nivalis escape. Let's see. What's up, Shell? I just wanted to read comment Shane here, because I wanted to read it out loud, and I wanted to kind of respond to it. I'm a programmer. I have a deep admiration for artists, because I'm unable to create anything like artists. Art's so amazing. But Puny Magus, programming is much more stable job-wise. I love arting and art when I lurk occasionally, but it doesn't pay the bills. I think that's actually a cultural problem. A lot of people see creative jobs as somehow less worthwhile than programming, if that makes sense. Because it's not a commodity skill. Anybody can do artwork, which is true. But to do it well actually requires a lot of skill and training. And hello, this guy. Let me guess, Jin told you to hunt for Atlanta as well. Yep, I guess this is a great place for Tyrants to hide, since dragons don't usually hunt down here. Why did one attack us? Talk about unlucky. Still, defeating Atlanta wouldn't be a bad thing, right? Take this stuff, it'll help you. I literally do not need these. Well, maybe I do. Let's get moving. The sooner we get rid of Nivalis, the better. The other thing is, like, straight up, take a look at this game. 50% programming, 50% art, in terms of, like, the reasons why this game... Well, no. Okay, let's say music, art, programming, and just raw design. And without the art, no one would really be playing this game. Without the programming, nobody would be playing this game. And without the design, nobody would be playing this game. I hate the fact that programming, for some reason, has become more valuable than all of those other things. What's up, Shell? There we go. Yeah. And it's like, I get the logic that, like, programming is this new big thing that is heavily commoditized by the fact that it's so hard to do. It requires decently high amounts of technology to actually do and succeed at, and so on and so forth. But let's see. Lumbia has a very short temper and is known as a skilled fighter. Alright. Send to storage. And it's not one of those where I'm advocating that programmers should necessarily be paid less. I just feel like, yeah, I think artists and musicians and writers and whatnot should actually just be paid more. That's the real, what it boils down to. And so, whenever people talk about, like, how art doesn't pay the bills, I get it. Like, there are absolutely artists out there that probably should not be able to make a living with their art, but that's the same thing with programmers. I've seen some real shitty programmers out there. But I've never heard a convincing argument from anybody for why there should be this disparity. Let's see. Yeah, I know about the recent Tyrant attack, but I can't do anything about it. I'm not strong enough. Perhaps you can help me train for a bit. Someday I'll be hunting Tyrants myself like a real pro. Let's see. But yeah, I don't know. It bugs me whenever I hear anybody talk about this or this mentality in general, because all of the games that you ever see that are absolutely beautiful took somebody years of training and practice and probably art school and a bunch of other things to, be good at. Ow. Yeah, instead of looking down on them, programmers should team up with artists and make games. As one of the reasons why I like the indie market so much is because you do see a lot of equal partnerships, the artist and the programmers, sort of. I knew it. I'm still a beginner at this. Oh well, thanks for the fight, Snat Hammock. I'll keep practicing. And sometimes, there's a lot of indie games that are legendary almost purely because of their visual design. Take Owlboy, for example. I'm gonna be honest with you. That game was only as well received as it was because it was stunningly beautiful. Gameplay-wise, it was nothing special. I didn't actually enjoy Owlboy that much, but it was such a treat to look at that I just went through the whole thing. The writing was decent, the music was pretty good, and maybe other people looked to that game for other reasons, but from my perspective, that was such an important component into that game's success. It's a game that specifically was programmed in such a way that could never be replicated if... I don't know. I'm trying to think about that one. Yeah, Creeks is another example, isn't it? Yep. Oh yeah. Creeks' gameplay was kind of meh, but because of the weird art style and the music with Creeks, it stands out more. When that Tyrant Nexomon attacked the city, I ended up running away. Oh, don't look at me like that. What choice did I have? Get out of my sight, punk. I will fight you to get out of your sight. That's inevitable anyway. The main thing is, a good chunk of programming is back-end. Customers don't really see. Art's important because no one wants to look at a bad-looking GUI when looking through data. Yup. I brought this up, actually, I think it was yesterday. I was playing... Shoot. I was playing Rogue Heroes, which, charming game. Not the prettiest, but it was serviceable enough. But I was talking about how I like the idea of a lot of old school roguelikes, but so many of them are kind of ugly. And fellow Wholesomeverse member Vladimir Ledoux had suggested Dungeon Mans. And I had never played Dungeon Mans before. And, I never bothered with it. And I loaded it up last night and played a little bit of it. And I'll admit it's probably one of the best looking old school roguelikes. It's still ugly. You're strong. Snad Hamwick is your name. Huh. I'll make sure to remember that the next time we meet. Art is sort of a one-time cost, whereas programming usually has a decent amount of maintenance and upkeep. You think about expansion, DLC art can be recycled. But is that a good thing that the art can be recycled? Like, I get where you're coming from, that, like, art, once done, is done, but programming, you have infinite bugs. And, I can kind of understand that, but I would almost say that almost begets a separate industry itself, QA. But, I would say that might account for, like, a 20-30% disparity as opposed to, like, Jeez. It's like a solid 50 to 100% disparity or something insane like that. Stay away from me! I bet you're one of the bandits! Leave me alone! But also, how many games have you played with really shitty, repetitive artwork over and over and over again? What's a good... Well, recolors. How many Monster Collection or RPGs have you ever played where you look at the actual bestiary of the game and it's the same 40 monsters over and over and over again? Art can be recycled, and it often is, but I feel like it's actually a really terrible idea to do so, because it makes your game boring. The more you recycle, the less visually impressive your game is. This game is a great example of, admittedly the monsters are just constantly reused, but you can't really escape that in a Monster Collector game, but there's like 300 of them, so I can't really complain. But every single zone has its own background, and every single one of them is a joy to look at. I haven't really specifically pointed it out yet, but like, these backgrounds are solid. And Pokemon, well, actually, there's a good example. How many of you guys were actually kind of legitimately mad when you found out the Game Freak was just, hey, this is a good one. When you found out that Game Freak, was reusing all of its models from Sun and Moon. You're not abandoned? Why didn't you say so? Gosh, I swear this place is the worst, but I must endure. I heard that some of the best elemental shards can be mined here. How many of you were kind of mad when you found out the Game Freak was reusing all of their Sun and Moon models for Sword and Shield? Because I was not surprised, but I was kind of mad. Let's see. Plasma Star. Great physical damage, high accuracy, decent speed. I might cycle it in instead of the Electric Bomb, just so we have something else to hit with. And, like, they could have reused a lot of the framework and then updated the model in some way, shape, or form. You know, made them a little bit more interesting, at least. Added some extra textures, beefed it up a little bit, added some new animations. But finding out that How and... oh, shoot, what's his face? Like, the friend rival in Sun and Moon, and then friend rival in Sword and Shield. Like, same guy, same animation set, and skeletons. Look over there. The ground's frozen. This has to be Atlanta's doing. Place like this, frozen. You guys sure that she's weakened? She's been running from one place to another. She can't be much stronger than last time. Alrighty. This can't be so bad. If we beat Navalis, we'll be legends. Come on, lads. We got work to do. And so it's like, I understand why they did it, because it's a good way of, you know, keeping within budget. And to some degree, if you make art good enough, you might as well reuse it to some degree. So, if Game Freak went out and said, okay, for the next Pokemon game, we are going to make 7 years worth of Pokemon assets that we will reuse for every Pokemon game for this console platform, I'd be okay with that, actually. I'd be totally fine with it, because then it would look good, and I couldn't blame them. But the fact that they ported from I mean, not an old 3DS game, but a 3DS game to a Switch, like, it was kind of offensive. It's like, hey, I finally want to see a Pokemon game that looks legitimately good, and instead I got this kind of meh thing. Same thing with, Fire Emblem Three Houses. I loved Fire Emblem Three Houses, conceptually. It was an ugly game! They reused so much, and their procedurally generated levels were tiny, and few and far between. And I just sat there playing it, just being like, this game is not nice to look at. And I enjoyed it for the characters, and the characters look decent, but like, the pixel art from the old Game Boy Advance games looked better. And I want to respect these developers more. And I understand that, like, art costs money, just like everything else, but how many games go that extra mile with art or programming or whatever, and it actually really stands out and makes you feel like you want to play it? God of War is a decent example. As a game that is just an absolute masterpiece in and of its own right, and it is incredible on all fronts. They skimped on almost nothing, with one exception. The one thing that truly pissed me off about that game was they reused the same goddamn troll boss like 4 times, and it's just like, why? Just make something new.